Good morning, everybody. How we doing? This is Scott. Today is the 3rd day of June, 2020. Sitting down there is Bo. And once again in the co-pilot seat is the infamous Cricket. Psst. Was it her? She scratched me a little while ago. She don't like being picked up. Anyway, that's Cricket. In the co-pilot seat. How y'all doing? Today we're going to talk about regime change operations. What is a regime change operation? We're going to talk about that in relation to what is happening here in the land of the great PX, the big PX. We're going to talk about Antifa, Black Lives Matter, the police, Donald Trump, military moving in. We're going to talk about a bunch of shit. But before we do, really quickly, I want to thank everybody for their well wishes in terms of the little kitten that I caught and kept for about 30 hours and cleaned up. Just as soon as she got used to me and being here, found a good foster home for her. A couple came over from the St. Francis Society down here in Tampa. They came all the way over from St. Pete, Carlos and Laura, and I want to thank them. I contacted them, sent them pictures. They were very excited. They said yes, they could certainly find a home for her. I informed them that there were more outside I hadn't been able to catch yet. And they said, well, if you can catch them, we'll come back and drive all the way back over here and pick them up. So I figured I could put her in the cat carrier, make her nice and comfy in that, and then go ahead and use the kennel, which she was staying in, as my trap, which is how I catch them. Turned out I caught 2 more kittens that way, both cute, both healthy. When they got here, the couple from the St. Francis Society, and we had secured those 3. I said, well, there's 2 more, I think, that are under my car. So they said, well, let's try to catch them. So we did. We caught the little Siamese-looking fluffy white one. We caught her brother, who looks exactly like her. I mean, exactly like her. And we caught another of that litter, who looks a little bit different. But we, in all, 5 kittens have started a new life. And they're going to be vetted. They're going to be taken good care of, and we're going to have new homes. So I'm very happy about that. 5 kittens that I'm not going to have to be digging holes for, neighborhood kittens, and I'm very excited about that. Plus, they're going to help me get the mothers taken care of, so we don't have that situation develop again. So again, to the St. Francis Society of Tampa, thank you guys very much. To Laura and Carlos, thank you guys very much. Very appreciative. I appreciate it very much. A lot of work taking care of those things, those kittens. That one little kitten damn near fucking took it out of me. But good work that they do there, and I want to thank them. I also want to thank somebody who sent me a card. I see you, Bo. Haley sent me this. I don't know. Thank you very much, Haley. I appreciate that. That's cool. That really is. I'm going to put that up on the back here. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Hi, Bo. All right, Bo. Okay, so we got that done. Okay. Where were we? Okay. So. Let's talk about my damn Analysis not working the way it should be. There we go. Let's talk about what's going on today. First of all, we had some more scenes. I'm not going to post scenes of violence. I'm not going to post scenes of the police committing violence. I'm not going to post that because you've seen it. Listen, there's tons and tons and tons of videos to choose from. Not just protesters committing violence against business owners or against just random people who say, stop doing what you're fucking doing. Violence being committed by business owners against protesters. Violence being committed by the fucking state, by the police, against fucking peaceful protesters. I'm not going to post videos of these things because there's tons of that shit to see out there if you want to see it. Excuse me. Instead, we'll talk about the reasons behind it and what I think are the reasons behind it. And I think, to be honest with you, the reasons behind it are quite obvious. This is not a coincidence. I don't do coincidence theories. I analyze fucking conspiracies. And in my estimation, what we're seeing here is all part of the same fucking program. And it is designed to deal with... I got to get rid of this because this thing is flipping the fuck out. And I'm sure it's going to slow down my stuff. This is jobless rate. It's an article that's published today or yesterday. Yesterday. It claims that the jobless rate is at 14.7%. That's bullshit. You and I both know that those numbers are very low as per the change in how the jobless rate is counted in this country that was done by the Clinton administration. We all know the real unemployment's over 20%. Well, if you look, the Depression era peak was 25.6. We are way close to that. But if you just look at this fucking graph, even with their 14%, we are well surpassed. We have well surpassed 2008. We have well surpassed the fucking Reaganomics days. We are really up into the fucking very close to, if not beyond, the Great Depression, which we'll talk about again in a few seconds. 41 million Americans have filed for unemployment, new unemployment claims, since the middle of March. That has never happened. And that is precisely part and parcel of what we're talking about here. Your next stimulus check, as that is taking place, your next stimulus check is being held up. The Republicans are holding it fucking hostage in the Senate because Democrats put a bunch of stuff in they wanted in the House to the point of it's $3 trillion fucking dollars. The previous one was $2.2 trillion plus the quiet $4 trillion that was added to the coffers of the Federal Reserve. This one is already $3 trillion, and once the Senate adds what they want and subtracts what they want, Nancy Pelosi says she's up for debate to get this next stimulus check out. This thing's going to push $4 or $5 trillion, whereas the other one was official one was $2.2 trillion. This is going to be unbelievable. It's already 1,800 pages. God knows what else is going to be included in this. This is called the HEROES Act. And one group of heroes that gets money out of this are lobbyists, K Street lobbyists. If that gives you any indication of where the real looting is taking place in this country during this fucking 8 days of unrest that we are seeing. Let's talk about the kinds of things that we're seeing here. Let's talk about, first of all, the violence being perpetrated by the police. We've seen video after video of cops spraying people, peaceful protesters, in the face with fucking bear mace. We've seen fucking peaceful protests dispersed with violence by the fucking police, with tear gas, with flashbangs, which again, they are not a non-violent fucking tool. Flashbangs are a violent tool. They don't fucking create fucking fatalities, but they certainly can create casualties. Ask that guy who picked one up thinking it was a fucking tear gas canister, and ask him how his new fucking fake hand is doing. They are dangerous. This is being orchestrated for a reason. A lot of this hate and animosity that we are feeling towards, everyone's feeling towards the police right now, it's being stoked, and for a reason. The hate and animosity and the fear that the police feel towards us is also being stoked, and also for a reason. It's not just that they want to divide and conquer us in between whites and blacks, which is happening, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's also teaching and conditioning, further teaching and conditioning the police that the enemy is out there. Anybody out there, they're the enemy. We are the enemy. We, the people that they are supposed to be tasked to protect and serve. We're not. We're the enemy. They are conditioning them to believe and to think again that they are literally on the fucking streets of Baghdad in 2005 and 2006. That's what they're conditioning them to think. Police officers are already being shot at. We are having, and that is going to continue. That kind of activity is going to continue. You're going to end up with snipers in the fucking on the rooftop shooting at fucking protesters and police alike, like they did in 2002 in Venezuela, like they did in 2014 in fucking Ukraine. These things will happen. We're seeing over and over again, there's videos of officers removing fucking bricks from their covered fucking pickup trucks and placing them on the side of the fucking truck to leave them in certain places, bricks, for the protesters to fucking use. We've also seen pallets of these things being left in certain areas. Some were pavers that I believe were there for a fucking job to place the pavers on the street. I think that was in Dallas, I'm not sure. But others now are showing up that are just regular old fucking construction bricks in very odd places. So somebody's behind that as well. Some believe it's the actual police. I don't know. We are seeing also a number of incidents like this, where first aid stations that have water, that have stuff to put in people's eyes so that, they can wash their eyes out after being tear gassed or sprayed with mace. These stations that are being set up by protesters are being ransacked by police. This is a medic station, Asheville, North Carolina. The Asheville police came through and did this. I mean, they have food, they have, obviously. These people come through. I've seen videos where the cops come through and literally steal this shit and bust up the ones that they don't want to take. And steal packages and packages of fucking water. Between this kind of action and between spraying random people in the fucking face, driving down the road, shooting them, fucking running them over with fucking cars, pushing their way through, you're really developing an adversarial relationship between the people of the country and the servants of the fucking oligarchs, the police. And they are fucking conditioning the police to understand that the fucking common rabble out there, the common person out there, is not who they work for. They're teaching them that. This is a teaching fucking opportunity to instill this kind of ideology in the police, which is certainly not advantageous for us, especially when this whole thing started due to an officer willfully fucking killing an individual by kneeling on his neck and being completely indifferent to that individual and in his pleas for help, whether he died from asphyxiation or whether he died from a heart attack. The reality is, if it wasn't for that dude's knee on his fucking neck, he probably wouldn't have died. And if he gave him the care that he needed and called in the paramedics earlier, he certainly wouldn't have fucking died. So either way, it doesn't make a difference. It was the callous indifference to his suffering and his life that took his life. And it was that callous indifference by an officer. And so now we are seeing that times 20, times 100, times 1,000, times 10,000, as more and more of these officers show this same callous indifference to the concerns of the people out there and the well-being of the people out there that are protesting. Most of the ones that they are showing this indifference towards are the peaceful ones. That's another aspect of this. There are many instances where people tagging shit on fucking the sides of buildings, causing vandalism, or doing it 10 feet away from fucking cops standing around having a chat. The cops are never there during the looting, never. Even though obviously word is out, even though the store is halfway fucking cleared out, there's still video after video after video of more and more people going in and out stealing shit. And where the fuck are the cops? You mean to tell me those looters can get fucking information about the thing being broken into and looted before the cops are? Those things have fucking alarm systems. Those buildings have alarm systems. They know damn well when someone tears the front off of a goddamn Best Buy with a fucking front end loader. They know that. They know exactly when it happens. Don't give a shit. They allow it to happen. They're not going to go in there and stop them, but they will use bear mace on fucking 18-year-old college students, white and black, who are just simply fucking sitting on kneeling in front of them in protest. That's designed to cause anger and hostility and a division. Don't mistake this. Don't get this twisted. This is being done by design to make you hate them as much as they hate you, to make you hate and fear them. And this is all part of that. We'll talk about that in a second. Speaking of getting you to hate and fear, a new development's taking place and throughout all this, and that is this idea that this practice of, they did it once with a staged situation where they had a white woman walking down the street and along came a guy with his fucking cell phone in his hand, and you can make sure he puts his hand in front like this. He's got his hand out there like this. Why? So you can see it's black. And he's telling her to do this and telling her to do that. And he gets her to say, I've been told by Antifa to come out here and get, a white woman or a white person to get on their knees and beg for my forgiveness and say, you're sorry for what's happened. So she does. Of course, his hand's out there the whole time, so you can see he's black. This was staged, obviously. Let me tell you something. That ain't gonna happen. And some random black dude walks up to a white woman on the street and says, get on your knees in front of me. That is not in the middle of the broad daylight. When she can just walk right into a fucking building and say, you're a creeper, get the fuck away from me. She can walk right into a building. Yeah, that is not going to fucking happen ever. 100% fucking staged. Of course, as that is produced and then put out there and then marketed, you have other versions of that culminating in this.
About racism, anti-blackness, or violence. will use my voice in the most uplifting way possible.
This is designed to make certain white people hate black people. That is what it's designed to do. It is not designed to help the black cause in any way, shape, or form, because these people sitting here, these young dumbass people sitting here raising their hand, making a pledge because a black person told them to, that's not going to help. They're not going to change these people. These people, if they have in their mind to get on their fucking knees or sit down and take the pledge in the first place, they ain't the goddamn fucking problem. They ain't the goddamn fucking problem. This is designed to make other white people who think and feel a certain way to get angry, to hate leftists for being so goddamn spineless, and to hate fucking black people for expecting white people to do this. Let me just say real quick, I don't owe anybody a fucking apology because of the color of my goddamned skin. If you think I do, if you think I automatically, because I was born this fucking shade, owe you something, then that's just about as racist as someone of my shade looking at you thinking just because of the color of your skin, you are naturally inferior to me. That is just as racist. Both of them are the same thing. Two sides of the same, different sides of the same fucking coin. These people didn't do jack fucking shit to George Floyd or to any of the others, and they never supported it. And in all likelihood, they're not sitting around, going through people's resumes to see who to hire and going, oh, well, that one's an African American. Let's toss that over here. Oh, here's a white guy. In all likelihood, these people aren't your problem. So what's the point of getting them to make this pledge of sorrow and asking for forgiveness? The point is to piss people off, and to piss the wrong people off. The people who will look at this and get angry about this, those are the ones that you have to worry about. But those are the ones this is designed for. Okay? Again, divide and conquer. That's what this stupid shit is. So we got the police thing going on. We got the color thing going on. Let's deal with this. What is all this about? Here's Lionel of Lionel Media. You know what I call this? A good start. This is a fucking sniper. Some mindless fucking drone who probably killed various types of people. If you read anything about the role of the snipers in fucking Iraq and Afghanistan, you'll know. Not necessarily the best fucking people in the world. Not certainly some very dangerous people, but not necessarily the best fucking people in the world. Here this guy is, on his way, I guess, to someplace, D.C. maybe. Get up on the roof, I guess. Carrying what's obviously a sniper rifle, which has no business anywhere near a fucking protest. And if you understand what happened in 2002 in Venezuela and 2014 in Ukraine, you look at that and you go, that's problematic. That is certainly problematic. Of course, Lionel of Lionel Media, sycophant to fucking Donald Trump, he calls it a good start. Let me ask you a question. What do you think that motherfucker would have called it? What do you think that racist Lionel would have called it if that motherfucker picture had been taken when Barack Obama was in office? Do you think he'd have called it a good start? No. He would have called it fascism. Which is exactly what it is. To that fucking... to that point, here is a politician, again, talking about fucking well, basically how wonderful Trump is, but this is her fucking version.
President Trump declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. I have a message for Antifa terrorists. Stay the hell out of Northwest Georgia. You won't burn our churches, loot our businesses, or destroy our homes. I'm Marjorie Greene, and I approve this message.
There you go. Marjorie Greene running for office with a fucking... Is that an Israeli? I don't know what it is. If it's not in the fucking video game, I don't know what it is. Look, Antifa terrorist. You have to understand something. Again, this is where we get to the point where we're talking about support operations or regime change operations. Here we have Donald Trump, and I showed you already the fucking numbers on. You know Donald Trump is still losing to that fucking brain dead Joe Biden, right? The rapist brain dead Joe Biden that you wouldn't leave your goddamn 6-year-old daughter in the fucking room with overnight. You know damn well you wouldn't. And in all polls, Trump is losing to him. Except specific polls, you know, from one state to the other, but red state to the other. But in the ones that matter, he's losing to fucking Biden. Now, because he was viewed as weak, hiding in a fucking bunker in the White House, turning the lights off, because there's a bunch of fucking people out on the street, because that was portrayed as being weak, he decides to stage this ridiculous fucking scene where he walks across the stage, across the fucking street, carrying a Bible to appeal to that very same kind of fucking crowd here and the Lionel media crowd and the very same kind of crowd of people who are going to be pissed off as shit looking at a bunch of white people on their knees begging forgiveness for something they had nothing to do with to any random black person they see on the fucking street. The same people who are going to be angry when they see fucking looting taking place that the police are standing back and staying away from and allowing to take place. The looting would have stopped quick if they responded to the fucking alarms when they busted the fucking doors, but they don't. Why? Because they want this. What do they want? Eons ago, 1932, Hoover used the fucking U.S. military, tanks, to roll over veterans, 17,000 of them, killing several. Police shot a couple in order to break up the bonus army that was stationed outside the White House and had been for quite some time because they were going through the Great Depression after 1929 crash, because they hadn't been paid these bonuses that were supposed to be paid back to them. That was money that they had earned in World War I. They still hadn't been paid this fucking money, and because all of a sudden there was massive unemployment throughout the fucking country, they decided to pack up their shit wherever the fuck they were, because they had no jobs anyway, and make their way to fucking Washington to get that fucking money. So what does Hoover do? Hoover unleashes the military on them. And when you read this article, I'll post a link to it down below. When you read this fucking article, you'll notice a number of fucking names that you will notice that you will, made history later. One of the ones that's not in this thing was Smedley Butler. They wanted him to fucking take this fucking bonus army and a couple 100,000 more later and attack the fucking White House with him. But he chose not to. That was 34. But in 32, they were there, and they were protesting. And people like Dwight D. Eisenhower, Douglas MacArthur, and another one ended up being involved in this. Oh, yeah, that's right. Fucking, who was it? Who was the other? MacArthur? fucking Eisenhower and Patton, George Patton. He was the one commanding the fucking tanks, I believe. They had shut up a shantytown. They'd been there for 2 years, protesting, waiting, demanding they get their fucking back pay from the army, from the military. And the president didn't want to give in. Hoover didn't want to give in. So anyway, Hoover loses the election, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt comes in. He doesn't want to give it to him either, but eventually they get their fucking pay. They get about $2 billion total in total. Eventually they get their fucking pay. But here's the idea, folks. When you have a situation developing like we have right now in this country, with so many people being unemployed, and it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Yeah, they're reopening a little bit here and there, but now with this, as soon as they start reopening stuff and saying, okay, you guys can go back, you haven't got to stay on lockdown anymore. Now we got fucking curfews in 25 states, in 25 cities across the fucking country. I don't know how many states have this. I don't think there's any statewide curfews, but now we got curfews. This is not going to get any fucking better. The economy is not going to fucking spring right back into fucking place, and they're not going to allow it. We still have the COVID-19 bullshit thing taking place. They still have, $3 trillion fucking stimulus package right now called the HEROES Act they want, and the Republicans are just going to add more fucking pork to that goddamn thing so big business can get more fucking money and loot more fucking money. So that thing's going to be massive. They're not going to give up what they're doing to us until they get that. They're not going to give up what they're doing to us until they get their full contact tracing thing. And of course, remember, don't forget, Bill Gates still wants his fucking money. So this is going to continue. And as this continues, things are going to become quite clear that our election in November of 2020 is going to look vastly different if it takes place at all. It might not. If people are still so pissed off and getting worse, and as it gets worse and worse, I mean, as you saw in one of these articles that I tried to show you earlier, without that next stimulus thing, a lot of people are going to start, the unemployment benefits are going to start running out. When that happens, you're going to see some serious fucking shit taking place. So, having the fucking military on the ground already, deployed already, having the mechanisms for curfews in place and people accustomed to it already, to the point where we have full-on posse comitatus is tossed out. We have the Insurrection Act enabled. We are moving quickly into a very dystopian fucking future here, at least for the next six months or so. That being the case, what they need to do is create support for what is happening. The way you do that is you fucking make people afraid of black people, make people angry and afraid of white people, make them all afraid of the fucking police. So then the military, the glorious military comes in, and they're not the ones fucking stamping on your fucking water bottles or, spraying people with bear mace. So the military then becomes a calming effect, so to speak. Even though it is still MRAPs and Humvees and fucking tanks literally rolling down your fucking street. What's being done is a support operation. If you want to understand the difference, I'll give you two examples, recent examples, both using ISIS. In Syria, they needed to help the fucking Kurds clear out fucking areas east of the Euphrates. And they used ISIS for this. So, of course, it was also with ISIS in there, Barack Obama could get away with saying, I got to put troops on the ground to fight ISIS. But he didn't. The U.S. military and the Air Force was used in support of ISIS as ISIS moved to the next town to ethnically cleanse the place, to get people out so they could turn it over to the fucking Kurds. That was in support of an operation to force a regime change, Bashar al-Assad, and to bust off part of fucking Syria. That's one way to do that. That is a regime change, basically a regime change operation, a special operations regime change operation using a proxy army. In the case of Iraq, it's different. In Iraq, back in 2011, we were supposed to fucking leave because of the thing signed by George Bush. Obama didn't want to, but he had no choice because Malachi said his people wanted him out, wanted us out. So we had to fucking go, but his hands were tied by the fucking thing. What happened was a legitimate fucking uprising. The General Military Council for Iraqi Revolutionaries formed, and they were, because of massive fucking deaths at real protests being done by fucking Iraqis, they were killed by Malachi, a fucking puppet. They started to advance on fucking Baghdad, and they got very, very close. Well, Barack Obama wasn't going to just say, okay, yeah, these are legitimate fucking Iraqis trying to retake their country after George Bush fucking bombed the shit out of it. What I said was the wrong fucking war to start with, Barack Obama. So they needed something else. They needed an evil boogeyman. ISIS. We have beheading videos, fake beheading videos. We have fake burning videos. We have all these fucking things, and ISIS. So because of ISIS, then Barack Obama was allowed to go back in and to help support the government that was there. Maliki. In order to keep the General Military Council of Iraqi Revolutionaries from overthrowing our puppet regime and installing another Ba'athist regime led by some of the generals that used to work for Saddam Hussein. Two different types. Okay? You have to wonder which one is going on now here, because it's obviously something. This is being done. Antifa is very similar to ISIS. Antifa is very similar to fucking Al-Qaeda. Both terrorist organizations, deemed terrorist organizations, but both run and operated by our fucking intelligence world and Pentagon, special operations. Both are proxy armies. Antifa is a proxy army run by our intelligence operations. There's no question. It's like a fucking terrorist in Hong Kong. That's why you see Antifa so closely associated with the fucking terrorists in Hong Kong. You see Antifa so closely associated with the terrorists in fucking Ukraine. Because they are part and parcel of the same operation, the same kind of operations, the same infrastructure, shall we say. But that's not the point. They're not going to actually run out there and arrest people that they know are fucking working for them. Who are they going to arrest? When this fucking dickweed gets into Lionel of media, talks about, yeah, let's fucking go out there and round up the Antifa people. Do you think they're actually going to go out there and get the guys who have fucking paycheck stubs that go back to fucking NED or go back to fucking USAID or even the fucking CIA? Do you think those are the ones they're going to go get? No. What system is being fucking established here? The system that's being established here is a fascist system. Antifa is anti-fascist. They are actually fascists, posing as anti-fascist, but they are supposedly anti-fascist. Who are they going to start rounding up? And, of course, they'll be cheered by people like Lionel Media. They'll also be cheered now by the leftists and by groups like Black Lives Matter, even though they're part and parcel of Antifa. Average black people will say, you Antifa people were doing this to us, making us look bad. So yeah, so you have a lot of people who be saying, yeah, go lock those bastards up. And who are they actually going to lock up? Who are they going to lock up? And all they'll have to say is, well, he's Antifa. Or, a bunch of Antifa people used to watch his videos and get motivated by it. So we got to lock him up because these Antifa people are crazy. And he's one of these ones helps motivate them. That's who they're going to fucking lock up. People who are legitimately opposed to our fascist fucking state that we are developing right now. That's who they're going to fucking go after. That's why people like fucking Lionel Media are cheering this whole thing on. He knows what the fuck is going on. I seriously doubt BitChute will ever fucking publish this, process this. Maybe what I will do is find some way to get it to somebody else to publish it. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. I don't know. But I'll try to publish it and see how it goes. It's too long. Now it's 40 minutes. But I appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, I would say like and subscribe down below, but you can't. Because I'm not allowed on fucking YouTube anymore. Okay, so I thank you guys very much. Bo thanks you. He can tell when I'm getting ready to wrap one of these things up because he always gets up when I do. And I will talk to you guys later. Be safe out there, folks. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.